Jananii Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnan Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuho Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. My humble salutations to the Holy Trinity. Pranams to revered Swami Nikhileshwaranji Maharaj. Namaskars to Dr. Sudha Sheshayanji and Srimati Harini Varma. Namaskars to my brother monk, Swami Shuddhidanandaji. Pranams to the elderly monks in the audience. Pranams to Matajis. Namaskars to all the devotees. The more we talk about the direct disciples, the more purer our mind will become. And all through the 3 days, most of you have been listening, thinking, reading, getting some inspiration, getting to know new ideas, new ways of presenting things. As Shuddhidanji said, it is a good revision, good smaranam and mananam of the incidents and the teachings of the Holy Trinity and Swami Ramakrishnananda ji. Sri Ramakrishna, like an expert gardener, selecting the best flowers from the garden of life, from the streets and the residents of Calcutta, starting from Swami Vivekananda till Swami Yogananda, Bhutananda and others, makes them the future ambassadors of Vedanta, future ambassadors of spiritual strength to the whole world. And Swami Ramakrishnananda as Shashi Bhushan Chakravarti is being already trained to become an ambassador in Dakshineshwar itself. When Sri Ramakrishna called him 3 times for some service, this young Shashi was busy with studying Persian texts so that he can study for himself some Sufi teachings. He doesn't pay attention to his guru's call. And Sri Ramakrishna says, if you indulge in such studies, how will you serve me? And that was enough for Shashi's life to take a big paradigm shift. On whom is he serving? Who is calling him? For that kshanam, he loses that focus and thinks he has to acquire more of this academic knowledge. But Sri Ramakrishna removes all that traces, and Shashi takes a radical decision, as you know, of throwing away the texts, the Persian texts, into the Ganga and plunges into the service of the Lord. And that seva, which continued till 1886 and later on continuing even today, makes Shashi Maharaj a suitable and a perfect ambassador, a spiritual ambassador, not just a brand ambassador, not just a diplomat ambassador, as we generally understand in today's language. Ambassador of Persia, ambassador of America in India, ambassador of India in United States. This is just for diplomacy, just for some maintaining dignity, though they play a very important role. But it was Megasthenes who came from Macedonia to India. Whether there were so many ambassadors coming from China to India at that time. As a teacher of the world, India was a magnet to many countries. Some say there were 90 countries' ambassadors staying in India at a critical time. And India was teaching them what is yoga, what is Vedanta, what is the scriptures, and what are the philosophies. So this ambassadorship, though it is very challenging, the work that Shashi Maharaj took up, many incidents, many instances will be repeated, have been repeated from morning till now, and will continue to do so. But different contexts, different ways of putting the old wine in the new bottle. The Webster's Dictionary, the Cambridge Dictionary, the Google Guru says, as far as the ambassador is concerned, who is an ambassador? He is an important official who lives in a foreign country and represents his or her own country's interests there. Definition number 2. An ambassador is a type of diplomat who permanently lives in a host country and oversees an embassy. Some serve on an administrative body or as a representative at the United Nations. Like all diplomats, ambassadors represent the interests of their state. And why he or she becomes an ambassador of a state in a foreign land, in an unknown land? What are his qualities? Number 1, he should be reliable. The best ability is his availability to the people, available to his community. This means having good time management and energy management skills. It means being on time, communicating with the team members effectively, and following each task through to completion with little supervision. He should be self-motivated. Do you finish the task that you begin in time? With the complexity of an event, being able to manage yourself or herself is a huge advantage. Now, this one quality of an ambassador is enough to understand why Swamiji chose Swami Ramakrishnananda, Shashi Bhushan, Shashi Maharaj to come within 15 days of his going to Calcutta. Swamiji leaves Madras on February 17th, and after the reception and other things, when they settle down in Alam Bazar Monastery, Swami says, Shashi Bhai, please go to the south. And as you have heard from Dr. Sudha Sheshayan, as you have heard from Swami Shuddhidananda, Swami had already in mind, he will be my man. He will be my man Friday. The people of the south do not know Shashi Maharaj. But look at the farsight and foresight of Swamiji's management skills and administrative skills. He has already named, branded Shashi Maharaj there, the most orthodox and all the orthodox people of the south put together. He said, I am going to send you one. The same thing happened in America. When somebody said, who will continue to teach us? You have been living with us for 3.5, 4 years. From September 11th, 1893 till the time he came back to India in 1897. Swamiji said, I am going to send a man. One of my brother monks. He will live what I spoke. He will not give lectures, but he will live. He will show what life is. And he had in his mind Swami Turiyananda. Something unique that Swamiji has left behind for us to understand. And similarly to Abhedananda, without announcing, without informing Swami Abhedananda, Swamiji had already advertised in the newspapers. Swami Abhedananda will speak next Sunday. Abhedanji is shocked. And when Abhedanji gave his big lecture, beautiful lecture, successful, Swamiji was sitting in the last in the audience and smiling and said, in future, I will speak through you. This connectivity with Swamiji had among the direct disciples comes from the deep, subtle understanding, coordination and collaboration and love which Sri Ramakrishna brought amongst the 16 direct disciples. Shodashakala Purushaha is Sri Ramakrishna. Shodashakala manifestation, the exhibition is the 16 disciples who live even today. Maybe they are sitting somewhere around us. Only I need to be subtle, I need to be more pure, I need to be more sensitive that Swami Ramakrishnananda is listening to us. He may be smiling, seeing this audience, at least a few. At that time, nobody was there for me. We in the Madras center, or somebody in Bangalore center, or to some extent in Belur Math, may get familiar with Swami Ramakrishnananda. Personally, we grew with Swami Ramakrishnananda's life and teachings from childhood in Bengaluru center. You're wondering, who is this direct disciple who is celebrated more than the other 14? Swamiji, of course, is there. Other 14 are just a photograph, a small talk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and prasadam is distributed. Why Shashi Maharaj Homa? We're all curious to know. And our Mahantas, our elders used to tell us, founder of the Madras Math, founder of the Bengaluru Math, they used to give a big list of all the 4 states in South India. And this Shashi Maharaj had got that certificate from Swamiji for his reliability and credibility. He will take over South India. And when you see his training here, when you have heard some of the instances, I am not going into the details. We are familiar with Ramakrishna, we saw him. We are familiar with the biography of Swami Tapasyanji. We are familiar with the reminiscences given by other, whether Ramaswamy Iyengar or whether Nandunda Rao and other disciples and friends. But the reliability which Swamiji had comes to the find when he sent Swami Sadananda, when later on so many disciples of Holy Mother, of Brahmanandaji, were trained in this campus. Whether it was in Illam, whether it is in Mylapore. Shashi Maharaj never left any stone unturned. Very serious, but very much loving. When somebody is reading a newspaper, he was clear to say, is there no other place to read the newspaper? Is the Math place for newspaper? Smallest things, they looked at it with highest perfection. So that the Sangha, the traditions, the dignity, the sanctity will be maintained. The ambassador goes to the western parts of the country, or whether they come to India, they have to follow the discipline. They have to follow the rules. There's, as we read biography of written by Swami Tapasyanji, Shashi Maharaj just sent out a couple of over-enthusiastic brahmacharis who could not fall in line with the traditions and sanctity of the Math. He did not bother. He said, you're not fit for that. Sometimes Vajradapi Katorani Mruduna Kusumadapi has to work. So Shashi Maharaj was like that, a perfect ambassador, not only in Madras. As just now he is mentioned humorously, traveling all the way 3,000 kilometers within just 14 years. 1897, 1911, the man has gone. Shashi Maharaj left the body. Just 14 years in difficult circumstances, traveling to entire South India, facing obstacles, facing difficulties, facing criticism. As we know what happened in Bengaluru. For 2 hours, Shashi Maharaj had to wait to meet a donor, a zamindar, a rich man. Only to hear what? Why you are making so much of this Ramakrishna? Sister Devamata had to shut her mouth. She could not talk. She was shocked with that retort of that arrogant or the adamantine zamindar who wanted to give maybe 10 paisa or 10 rupees. Shashi, days in an Indian monastery is mentioning that. Sister Devamata could not talk. What are you making this of Sri Ramakrishna? Shashi Maharaj, till the time, very quiet, heard everything, then he turned with vigor, turned with that sternness and devotion, of course, and said, I have been his servant for 16 years, I will tell about him. For 45 minutes, Shashi Maharaj banned and gave an anti-vaccine to that egoistic zamindar, and he said, wait, and went inside and brought how much is not recorded, he brought a big purse and gave it to Swami Ramakrishnananda. So these are the work of the ambassador. Wherever there are difficulties, wherever there are obstructions, wherever there are misunderstandings, he has to correct. He has to present the state credentials properly and convince the opposition party. Shashi Maharaj did that in the entire South. Then the second quality with which I conclude, though there are so many qualities of an ambassador, is this positive attitude. Today we talk about positive psychology. We talk about positive change in our outlook. From showing a genuine interest in other people, to remembering to smile, to actively acting as a good listener who encourages others to talk about themselves, you will attract more bees with honey. When you work as an ambassador, you may be asked to wear certain clothes to represent the brand. But the one thing you know you always need is to wear a smile. By being genuinely positive can help you to make a great impression as a great ambassador. The very cover page of the book, new edition of Swami Ramakrishnananda's life by Shashi Maharaj was observing through morning, represents this ever blissful, loving smile of Shashi Maharaj on all of us. Moment we see, look at the lips, look at the expression, look at the body language, look at the attitude of Shashi Maharaj being so positive and wearing a smile always. So Swamiji perhaps saw all this in Shashi. Apart from his devotion to Thakur, he has to take up a higher responsibility. 3 things the ambassador does, and Shashi Maharaj proved it. One is Annadanam, his concern for the poor, concern for the starving, kept on feeding people, thousands and thousands at that time. Not only that, the students' home, the mid school, education, Vidyadanam. The third thing, not to stop with Annam and Vidya, Shashi Maharaj spread the Gnanadanam, gave us knowledge. Gave us knowledge of the universe, knowledge of the self, knowledge of the Shastras, knowledge of Sri Ramakrishna, knowledge of Vedanta, and all these things were fulfilled in that short span of 14 years in South India. The entire Kerala he travelled, that Ernakulam and so many places, Trivandrum center came up because of Shashi Maharaj. We are all fortunate to be living today, talking about, reading about, and participating here and there on the celebrations of Shashi Maharaj. It doesn't suffice unless we take up the responsibility for our own good as a sadhana and spread this message in the entire society. So Shashi Maharaj's ambassadorship up to Vijayawada, up to Machilipatnam he goes and starts a Hindu school there, Hindu college there in Machilipatnam. Some places very successful later on, in spite of negligence or carelessness or not taking message forward, still the centers have mushroomed here and there. One man's army, and now we see the fruit spreading all over Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, and the fragrance is spreading. That is why more and people come silently and gain the advantage of Shashi Maharaj's contribution and sacrifice. May he bless all of us. May Sri Ramakrishna Math and Swamiji bless all of us and give us that insight and outreach to strength to spread that message and absorb that spirit and gain moksha in this very life. Shashi Maharaj ki jai.